Hello Year 1, we're going to start off by doing a quick starter, looking at some different patterns within numbers. So I'm going to make a pattern by clicking on different squares in the 100 square. I'd like you to think about what pattern has been shown by the yellow blocks. So we could describe that it's going in stripes down the 100 square. Another thing we could say is all the numbers are even, and we could also say that all of those numbers are in the 2 times table. Let's look at a different one. So here is another pattern. And you might have spotted these numbers are going up in tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, all the way to 100. They're all even. And when we go up in tens, it makes a stripe down the 100 square. And I've added an extra stripe here. So this time have a think about what the pattern is. And you're right if you said that we're going in fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And that is also making a stripe. Stripe for the numbers ending in 5 and a stripe for the numbers ending in 0 in the 5 times table. Right, have a think about this one. 4, 14, 24, 34, 44, 54, 64, 74. Now for this one we could say we're going up in tens, but we've started on a number that isn't 0. So we've started on 4 and gone up in tens. And we'd see similar patterns. If we start in 6 and go up in tens, the ones digit stays the same, and we can keep counting up. So if I wanted to know what it'd be if I added 20 to 66, I can add 10, 20. 66 add 20 was 86. 36 is 10 bigger than 26. 54 is 10 smaller than what? 54 is 10 smaller than 64. So these patterns on the 100 squares can be really useful if we start to picture those and see how the numbers work together. And we'll have a little look at the main bit of our lesson now. Now we're going to be doing some investigative work today, an investigation. And we're going to look at some different questions. I think that's the first one. No, it's this one. Always, sometimes, or never, and investigate whether these different mathematical statements are always true, sometimes true, or never. Then I'm going to tell you a bit about your investigation. So, when you double a whole number, the answer is even. So let's have a look. If we're doubling 1, we'd get 2. If we double 2, we get 4. If we double 3, we get 6. Let's do a bit of predicting. Can you predict if the answer will be odd or even if I double 9? Let's check, see if you were right. I'm going to swivel it around this way. Okay, let's discuss this now. It is even. All of these are even because every single one has a partner. So when you double a number, the answer is even. Now what's tricky, this is always true, but proving something is always true can be difficult. You need a reason, you need to be able to explain your thinking. So the reason is, if we have an odd number, then the one that's left over without a partner is then given a pair. So if we double an odd number, it makes it even because we're pairing up. If we double an even number, all those numbers are already in pairs, so we still end up like we've got here. If we keep adding even numbers, the numbers are already in pairs, so we're going to keep getting numbers in pairs. We're going to keep getting even numbers. So we see our odds here and our odds here match up to make an even answer. So when we double numbers, whole numbers, we always get an even answer. Let's look at this one. Always, sometimes, or never. Numbers in the 5 times table end in 5. So have a think back to the 100 square that we looked at earlier. As we go up in 5s, it goes 5, 10, 15, 20. So numbers in the 5 times table end in 5. 5 does, 10 doesn't, 15 does, but 20 doesn't. Let's have a think if that one is always, sometimes, or never true. Well, it's sometimes true because we've got 5 and we've got 15, but also 10 and 20. That shows that it's sometimes true, but not always true. Right, sorry about that bit of a pause. So we've got here 3 maths investigations for you to choose from. Now I'm going to explain how to do them, and there will be another feedback video that goes through any of the answers and observations that you had. So this one says you need to choose at least 10 pairs of numbers that are under 20. So it could be 20 and 2, it could be 16 and 4, and you're going to add them together. You're going to sort your answers into whether they're odd or even. So if we go back to the Numicon, so if we were sorting out, just get rid of this and those. So if we chose 2 numbers, 6 plus 7, I can see straight away it's odd because I've got this pointy one that's being left over. And I've put some Numicon cutouts in case they're helpful for you today for odds and evens. I can see that our 6 and 7 make 13. You can also use any of the other resources we've been looking at this week, tens frames, the 100 square, all those links are on your home learning sheet today. So I found that 6 and 7 made 13. I can go back to my sheet now. Too many things open here. And that was an odd number. 6 plus 7 made 13. And you're going to collect lots of different answers to put into your table, sort them into odd answers and even answers. And then you're going to see if there are any patterns of odds and evens. You're going to see if you can predict whether you'll get an odd or an even answer with a pair of numbers where you've not worked out what it is. You might be able to look at some patterns on a 100 square to see what happens and explain why. So you could also have a go at explaining why. And this one's a little bit more complicated, but only a bit. So this time you're choosing 3 numbers and sorting them. So if we had our Numicon, look for clever ways of adding things together. So I know with 5 and 6 it makes 11. I'm going to swap the 6 for a 5 and a 1. So the 5 and the 5 makes 10. And if I give that one over, that makes 18. So you might spot some clever ways of adding the numbers together. So we had 5 plus 6 plus 7 was 18. Let's put that in our table. So that was an even answer. So the 5 and the 5 from the 6 made 10, and that 1 went to the 7 to make 18. And that's an even answer. So again, you're going to make some different answers, sort them into the correct column, and see if there are any patterns with whether you are adding even numbers, odd and even, 3 evens. So they're the patterns that you're looking for. What numbers do we add together to get odd answers, to get even answers? And then this is the challenge one. So there's a more fancy word for this than next door numbers, consecutive numbers. They're numbers that are next to each other, like 1 and 2. They're going up in steps, 1, 2, 3, 4. What you're going to do is choose 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5, and go in order. And write your answers in here to look at a pattern. Then you're going to choose 1 plus 2 plus 3, then 2 plus 3 plus 4, 3 plus 4 plus 5, and see what pattern you get. and the same for 4 next door numbers. So we can see there we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're going up in ones. 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, describe any patterns that you notice. Can you make predictions? If we added 5 numbers, can you predict if there are any patterns that will be repeated? Is it possible to get an answer of 22 by adding next door numbers? And this is the one where it would be most appropriate to have a look at 100 square to see if you can see any patterns of what these answers are going up in. And for the other two, you're looking for patterns of odd and even numbers. And then I'm going to go through what patterns you can observe and some ways of explaining them in the feedback video.